Hello, welcome to Basic Card Making and the exciting world of card making. I'm Robin Feicht, and today we're going to learn how to make this cute little card. It's very simple. The easiest way to make a card is to start with pre-cut cards. These are pre-cut note cards, and they're cut and scored. There's 20 in a pack, so you just fold them, and you can use a bone folder to get a sharper crease if you want. And they come with the envelopes too. You could also make your own card bases by cutting a sheet of cardstock in half. First, I like to score mine first, so the lighter blade on my particular cutter is the scoring blade. And I'm going to score at 4 1/4. And then I'm going to cut it in half. You can get 2 cards out of each piece of cardstock at 5 1/2. That's my cutting blade. And this is what you would call the hamburger cut. They're going now I'll show you. You can also cut your cardstock going the other direction. And for this, you're going to score at 5 1/4, or you're going to score at 5 1/2, and then you're going to cut at 4 1/4. And this is going to give you the hot dog cut. They just open a little bit different. You can see they're just taller. So that's 2 ways you can get 2 card bases out of each piece of cardstock. And then these are called A2 size cards, and you would want envelopes. These are medium or A2 envelopes. There's 40 in a pack. So let's get back to our card. This is a basic 1-layer card. We're going to use the Waterfront Stamp Set. This is a photopolymer stamp set. It's clear, you can see through it. It's easy to stack things and see through them. You need something to put your stamps on, and so I have some clear acrylic blocks. And I'm going to choose my first stamp. We'll start easy. I'm going to start with a little sunshine. You want to try to get your stamps on the smallest block they'll fit on. You are less likely to get ink on your block and where you don't want it on your card. I like to use a mat when I'm using photopolymer stamps because it gives me a little bit more cushion because there's no foam on the photopolymer stamps. So the next thing you need, of course, is ink. I'm using So Saffron ink. And here's the big tip for when you're stamping. Don't rock your stamp when you're inking it, and don't rock your stamp when you're stamping it. Otherwise, you end up with ink on your block. And see, I just stamp. Okay, and then you can clean your stamp either with a little scrubber, or this is called a Stampin' Scrub. You spray and then you scrub. So either the little foam or the Stampin' Scrub, either way works. The next thing we're going to stamp is the water. Again, I'm going to put it on my acrylic block. And this time I'm going to use Pool Party ink. Let me show you how to open these pads. So grasp it firmly with your right hand and then open it like you would a makeup compact and then slide it in. There's your pad, because the ink is stored upside down so it stays nice and juicy, which is a good thing when you're stamping. You want your pads to stay juicy. So you want to tap, tap, tap on the ink pad and stamp. Notice I didn't rock. Now let's add a few more waves or pieces of water. I'm going to use a little bit different stamp just to sort of shake things up. It would look a little strange to use the same one there. This way it just sort of looks like the waves are rolling out. And we'll stamp. This is a longer stamp, so notice how I'm using 2 hands when I'm stamping so I get even coverage. There you go. There's your water. Wasn't that easy so far? The next thing I'm going to show you is how to stamp off. We're going to use Sahara sand. I thought that was appropriate for the sand. And we'll use this stamp here. Notice it's darker there and lighter there. It's the same stamp. By stamping off means you have less strength. So I'm going to stamp first. That's my first one. And then I'm going to stamp again with just less strength. And you get a lighter image there. Super easy. That's called stamping off. And while we have the Sahara sand out, we're going to stamp our trunks of our trees. Super easy. Notice these photopolymer, you can see exactly where the placement for your stamps. Now, of course, those trees need some tree tops. So I am going to choose, they're going to be little palm trees because we're at the beach. Place those there. When you close it, just grab the lip with your fingers, your finger hold, and shut that. Okay, and then this is pear pizzazz ink. And we're going to tap, 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 and stamp. It's looking pretty good, and it was super easy so far, right? And the other thing I want to add is a sentiment. So I am going to use black ink for that. Choose a sentiment from my stamp set. I'm going to use the one about friendship and friends. I'm going to use tuxedo black ink for this one. And we'll tap, tap, tap. Make sure it's pointing up the right way. And we'll stamp. All right. We have that accomplished. Now, sometimes your ink pads become less juicy. They need a little more ink. And the way you take care of your pads is by re-inking them or adding more ink. This is my ink refill. And you just want to drip some drops or squirt some ink on there. You don't want to get too much or you won't stamp well, but you want to get it, you want them juicy enough that you don't have to push hard into your pads to get a good clear image. And that's all there is to it. I like to let the pads set a little bit after I re-ink them.